that game, as it went on, longer and longer, I wanted it really bad. But, oh, my God, the players wanted it so bad. And I kind of want to start here. That reaction from Steph Curry at the end of that game, I feel like a picture tells 1,000 words. Yep. And in this case, a video tells, what, a gazillion? Like, seeing him hit the three, run over, celebrate with Buddy and him going crazy, him turn to the crowd, pull the Golden State jersey part out on the new black jerseys. And he's pointing to it. And I know there's 1,000 lip readers. I don't know what he said. All I'm going to say is the image of him screaming the way that he did, that felt deep to me. Now, I don't know if it was personal toward any individual or just the moment. It felt like Steph Curry rising to the occasion, stealing the show, to your point, and reminding everyone, not only is this the house that Steph built, he's still one of the baddest dudes to walk the earth and one of the greatest basketball players of all time. That felt so deep.
Well, last night he became one of 3 players over the age of 36 to drop consecutive games in which he scored 35 or more points. The other 2 guys on the list, alongside Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Those are only 3 guys in NBA history who had back-to-back games in which they scored 36-plus at the age of 36 and older. Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And it is the house that Steph built. It's the organization that Steph built. And he's reminding everybody, you know what? I'm not going anywhere. I'm coming up off this Olympic gold medal, and I'm carrying that momentum. And right away, you can see Stephen Curry, his movement right now is next level. He's cutting at a just high level. His speed looks like it's back. It's an explosion. And it was personal. It was personal when you saw the first possession where Klay Thompson, and we discussed the matchups yesterday. And as we gone through the matchups, the light bulb popped in my head and said, oh, snap. Steph will be guarding Klay Thompson when you think about the matchups and how the Warriors play defense and how they set things up. And then you flip on the other side and say, well, wow, Klay's not really guarding guards anymore. He's probably going to be guarding Draymond Green. And you got that right away, and you got a lot of trash talk right away, and you could feel the intensity right before tip-off. This is more than just a game in November, folks. This was personal.
How many games?
And that Steph screen was personal. It was a message saying, hey, you chose up to go to Dallas, Texas. You left us. You're our brother now, but between these white lines, we want to destroy you because we want to get 5 rings before you do. Right? This is deep. This is very deep, Shasky. Whoa!
Look, I want to make sure that we get into this. You have been going to that arena since its inception. I would say outside of one of the players or one of the people that actually works in game day activities, whatever that is, security, vending, etc., nobody's been to that stadium more than you. What was it like? It
was unreal.
Because through my television, and I'll let you finish, it felt like a raucous party that turned into a playoff game.
It was already a playoff game, and it was a party. So I get there to Chase Center, and I get there fairly early, and I'm trying to get to the gatehouse at Thrive City to drop my stuff off. And Thrive City was as packed, if not more packed, than even when they hosted the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics.
No way.
The line was going to the street, dog, to get in for Klay Thompson to see him warm up. Thrive City, I couldn't get through the gatehouse. It was shoulder to shoulder, back to the people couldn't wait to get in. So right away I'm thinking, whoa, this is different. This is different. So Klay Thompson walks into the arena, 400 Warrior employees.
That was
had
so
their
classy.
captain class, a Raymond Ritter special.
That was so classy.
You know, and so the warm-up starts.
Classy.
So you get into the gym, you get in the Chase Center, and you could feel the electricity inside the building as they're warming up. Now I had to go inside, I had to go to the gatehouse as Steph Curry and Klay Thompson shared the court during warm-ups. But from what I heard and what I received from Karen Burke and Festus, Klay wasn't trying to say what's up to Steph before the game. Steph was maybe waiting on him to say what's up. That never happened. Klay was locked in. And so then you get to tip-off, or you get to the pregame warm-ups, and the tribute hitting was special.
Yeah.
Everybody waving their Klay hats. I'd never seen anything like it. The Captain Klay hats, you see them all moving all around the arena. It was a great touch by the Golden State Warriors. And then the game starts. And you get the first possession. going out to Klay Thompson in the post with Draymond Green on the weak side, coming over for the double, and Steph Curry fouls him. But he's like, I'm not letting him score. It's not happening today. It ain't Draymond Green, because he can't get lost into this equation.
I thought he was amazing.
Steph and Klay, there's going to be a lot about those two guys. As my boy Justin Dunaway out there in Fillmore, California says, they're not the Splash Brothers anymore. They're the Clash Brothers, because they're going to be clashing for the foreseeable future. Look, Draymond Green hit a shot, a three. Hits one in front of Klay Thompson. Hits another jumper. He's talking to Klay. Hey, I'm out here. I'm here. He's looking at Steph saying, yeah, boy, yeah, boy. Remember, Steph got the strip on the second possession, and Draymond's talking to Klay, and he's dapping up Steph. And then as the Warriors go on a little mini run in the first quarter, Jason Kidd runs on the court, calls timeout. And Draymond's looking at Jason Kidd talking that talk. And I said, oh, yeah, this is different. I got Game 7 intensity Draymond Green. I got Steph Curry with veins popping out of his neck. And I got Klay Thompson wanting to spoil the party for the Golden State Warriors and steal the show at J Center. Last night was one of them ones. It was a special, special regular season game. And this team, and I told you this about this fan base, they will start to get behind a team like this.
No doubt.
When they're diving, and they're scrapping, and they're doubling, and they're going for layups, and they're trying to dunk on you, and they're bombing threes, and they're not turning the ball over, Chase Center's going to start to love this team. And Chase Center was as loud, if not louder, than any game I've been to in a very long time at that building. It was wild.
We'll explore, Wiggins on Luka, Kyrie being guarded by Melton. Kyrie's amazing. All the different elements of this team. Because in the words of Seinfeld, they're real and they're spectacular.
How about the Anthony Melton? I mean, gosh.
He's been amazing. How about his timely double team on the Steph strip late in the game was brilliant. But I want to get back into something because this is important. These are guys, how many different, 6 finals?
6 finals together.
Okay. So let's think about what you're saying. This was Game 7 vibes in the second week of November.
Listen.
But these aren't guys that didn't play a lot of playoff games. These are war daddies, playoff battle dudes that are hardened by a decade of gladiating it out against, that's not even a word, against LeBron James, one of the greatest players of all time, and a plethora of other elite stars. And they're the reason why so many in the Western Conference will never sniff the finals, and we're never going to get a ring. You're telling me you felt the intensity was the same as those playoffs? I'm taking your word on this.
The speed. And 888-957-9570. You can call the show if you want and tell me about your experience.
It felt that way through the television.
In that building.
It felt that way.
I mean, it was a who's who there. You could feel the intent. That was playoff vibes. I've been to a lot of playoff games.
That's why I'm asking.
I've been going to Oracle Arena, Chase Center. It doesn't matter. That had playoff intensity to it. And that's a team in the Dallas Mavericks. They'll get P.J. Washington back. They'll be a deadly force in the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. They have a very nice team.
Gafford and Lively
they're good. P.J. Washington's going to help. Klay Thompson's going to have open threes, and Kyrie and Luka are going to do their thing. That had playoff intensity. Those teams refused to lose last night. I'm telling you, the Warriors didn't want to lose it. Steph didn't want to lose it. Draymond didn't want to lose that. Klay didn't want to lose it. That had playoff vibes last night, Shasky.
Watching Steph do that the way he did, that felt so personal. It just felt so, and I'm not saying that he hates, Klay or anything like that. It felt like there was an attack on the Steph culture that he built over a decade plus. And whether it's outsiders saying it's done and the era's over, or there was something that happened over the last couple of years on his watch, Steph Curry's watch, whatever it is, I don't know what it is. I don't know what he was feeling. I can't speak for him. I'm talking about my interpretation through the television. To me, it felt deep, it felt personal, and it felt like he was out to make a statement.
It was a statement.
And the statement was received.
It was a statement. I'm still here. I still run Golden State. I built this place. I was the first one here. I helped put this thing on the map. Sure, you were my splash brother, but I'm the one. I'm the straw that stirs the drink around here. Stephen Curry. And so it was a reminder to the whole NBA world that I'm still here. But not only that, Klay the night before, and Klay didn't want it to be all about him. That's just who he is. But Steph was going to get on the microphone and say something about Klay as a nice little tribute to him before the game. Klay texted Steph the night before and scrapped the plan. Said, no, I don't want that. I don't want all that. Klay would have scrapped the plan about the 400 employees saying what's up to him. Klay didn't want on a fanfare. He really didn't. Because maybe he felt some type of way about the way he left and the way things went down. And you haven't heard a lot from Klay about the situation. But obviously, there's some sourness there. There's no doubt about it.
Sam Amick wrote an article this morning on The Athletic, and he kept alluding to the contract Draymond Green got and the 4 years that Draymond got and how he wasn't offered the similar amount of years and this and the other. So to your point, that clearly is coming from someone. You know, Sam Amick knows his stuff. He's a reporter for the Athletic, covers the NBA for a long time. You know, he's getting that from somebody. So I do believe what you're saying. There's a lot of credence to that.
And you get Steph hitting the first three over Klay Thompson, pointing at him. The and one at the end of the first half where he's looking at Klay like, where you at, big dog?
They needed that, by the way. That and one before the end of the half was big.
Right. No doubt it was huge. So there is something brewing here. But more importantly, the Warriors come back from this 4-1 road trip, and they win another game against Dallas, and they're down 9-2. And they got the Memphis Grizzlies Friday night. Probably not going to have Ja Morant. There's something happening with this basketball team. Now, I don't know how good they're going to be, but I feel pretty optimistic about them making the top six and a playoff run here. I'm not going to get crazy about deep playoff runs, but with that intensity and with the way Draymond Green is playing and with the way Steph Curry's moving around, and Andrew Wiggins battled his ass off yesterday. I know the stat line doesn't do it justice. He had to run around and guard Luka. He battled. Kuminga and Buddy Hield being the first two guys off the bench. They're battling. They're scored 30 points. You get 30 points from Kuminga and Buddy Hield last night. Those are huge. That's huge production. I thought the 5 late in the third quarter from Pods was important. Going into the fourth quarter.
Pods.
So
we have a whole discussion on Pods.
Well, we got all that, and you got the Anthony Melton who hit 2 threes yesterday. That was a playoff-like game, man. There was something special to it. I can't get down off this high. I couldn't go to sleep last night. I feel like I'm hungover
this morning.
No, I couldn't go to sleep last night.
Bonta, you referenced Andrew Wiggins, and you're going to look, like, if you're a box score guy, you're going to look, oh, well, he had 8 points and, a couple rebounds, and he had some assists and some fouls.
Watch the game. That's what I say. Watch the game.
He was awesome because Luka is one of the most difficult guards maybe in the history of the NBA because of his girth and his ability to basically bait you into fouls. That's what he is. And his shot making is tremendous. And then there were multiple times he got switched on to Kyrie. Kyrie's one of the greatest players I've ever seen. I don't know where I put him. I'm not saying he's top 5. Just in terms of a watch and seeing him, like, oh my God, what a pass. My God, what a spin move. My God, what a degree of difficulty jumper in the lane. Kyrie is unreal. And then you mix up those two bigs, Gafford and Lively, with them. Both those guys give me elements of my favorite version of Tyson Chandler, where they're just rugged. They know their role. They've got better hands than you think. They're good. Really good screeners. They're great lob threats.
Well, it was a great trade by the Dallas Mavericks last season. At the NBA trade deadline, the Dallas Mavericks traded for P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford. And it changed their entire team around. Sick. Great lob threats, good defenders. It was the first game Lively was back. But Draymond Green with the great block shot. The great block shot at the end of the game. Just Draymond Green has just been, look at the stat line from Draymond Green. Again, and Steve Kerr said it. We'll play this out. He came out and said it. Draymond had Game 7 finals intensity. And you know what? Steve Kerr's not lying.
That's incredible.
He's not lying because I'm telling you, in the tunnel, I'm watching Draymond Green. I said, this is different. I looked at Bully, and Bully goes, nah, this is different. And Fezzy Fells jumping around like, oh my gosh, this is like, it was a show yesterday. They put on a show, and the Warriors are box office. You know the NBA's happy with the Warriors being 92. But Draymond Green's stat line last night, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. And more importantly to me, he hit the 2 threes. They're now 139-30 when he hits two or more threes in the basketball game. No turnovers for Draymond Green last night.
Under 3 minutes to go, he gets the charging call underneath the basket.
Scott Foster's looking right at it. I don't think that was a charge.
It's funny because you said it to me walking in, and I'm rewatching the last 8 minutes. I love doing that. And yeah, his left foot is completely inside the circle and inside the paint. Mm-hmm. But after that, I think they come down, they hit a bucket, they cut the lead to 1. And then Draymond gets the block at the rim. The block at the rim was, he timed it perfectly.
He had no turnovers last night.
And then he stood there, and then he stared him down as he's on the ground. And Dre was
unbelievable last night. He's had an unbelievable.
TJD in the third quarter was sick.
He's had an unbelievable start to the season. There's no doubt about that. So the Warriors win 120-117. How about, do we got a time for a call here? Let's get to a call. Let's go to Nick in San Jose. Oh, I haven't heard from Nick in San Jose.
What's up, Nick?
I don't think I've heard from him all season. Maybe he's feeling optimistic about 50 wins.
They're
like
real.
that unnamed player. Hey, Nick, that unnamed player, media day. Bonta, we win at 50. Do you believe now, Nick?
Dude, we are going to win between 58 and 62 games. And like Pac-Man, we need to gobble up these games because Lively's and Gaffords and Dallas and in Cleveland, those are tough teams, man. So we need to gobble it up. Look, I'm waking up this morning and going to bed last night with a huge smile because, one, Festus, Mully, and you, Bonta, together are just rock solid. And in the morning, we got of the county and city of San Francisco, you guys representing us, your keen intellect and your passion and knowing the streets. You're our homie. Now, look, I got to give Draymond his flowers. He is so rock solid. That block was amazing. And Curry last night just playing puppeteer with those big guys at the end of the game. We were down 7 points with 4 minutes to go, and Melton hitting that three to get it started. Yep. Now, look, I really thought having Slow-Mo, Buddy Hield, and having Melton were an additive losing Klay, but seeing Cameroon Klay, Game 6 Klay, 14 threes Klay, okay, I could go on to China Klay and Captain Klay. I miss the guy. But you know what, boys? I think we all love about sports is the competition. And I'm sick and tired of people competing and then signing jersey at the end of the game. They ran at each other yesterday. It was competition. It was beautiful. Laser pointing, shimmy shaking. It's what it all is about. Last thing, though. Has to foul there at the end of the game. What is he doing there? If he makes that three, I don't get that.
You know what I was thinking,
he should have fouled or let him shoot it?
He's playing some good basketball as a reserve. He really is. JK deserves some props, man. He's defending his ass off. He's a player. I like where Jonathan Kuminga's at right now, mentally, physically. And look, the first few minutes for him in the first half was a little rough, but he settled in, and he had himself a solid night. That sucker could guard, man. Not a sucker. He ain't no sucker. He ain't no punk, but you get what I'm saying here. This guy can guard. Jonathan Kuminga can guard. He can get to the rim. He gets up. He's a factor, folks. He is a factor. As a segment is sponsored by Golden State, serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. When you succeed, we succeed. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com. What a win for the Warriors last night, 120-117 on Klay Day. The return of Klay Thompson, and it did not disappoint last night, Shasky at Chase Center.
We haven't had a chance to get into it. So the closing lineup, because it's a close game.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is there's all this stuff, right? Klay and Steph and Dre. But there's a closing lineup. I loved it. I know I legitimately loved it. So you had Curry, Dre, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Anthony Melton.
Yep.
D'Anthony, excuse me. I think I've mispronounced that 5 different times in the last 2 weeks.
Not surprising.
What did you make of that? Because I loved the way they had basically Melton on Kyrie, and then they had Wiggins. I mean, I know there were switches and stuff. So
Melton on Kyrie, Wiggins on Luka. You got JK who can shadow Klay Thompson.
Yes.
And do not leave Klay. Do not leave him.
No, I thought you did a good job off ball.
No doubt. And then Draymond on Gafford.
Yeah.
Which is a
tough.
paint.
That's a tough matchup.
And you're protecting the paint right there. So
and then Grimes was the other guy out there.
Grimes was the other guy out there as well. So he played 8 minutes and 33 seconds in that fourth quarter, Quentin Grimes. But you see JK with the 7-13 in the fourth quarter, solid defense. I like the closing lineup.
I did too.
And this is what we've been waiting to see, the closing lineup. We've been waiting to see that. So, and then, somebody on the text here, 415, talk about the plus minus with Kevon Looney and some of the guys here. Loon Dog and Trace Jackson Davis last night combined for 20 rebounds. 7 on the offensive glass. By far and away, TJD's best game in a long time.
He had some really nice second, third chance opportunities because he's not as big as those other guys, in terms of height-wise. And I thought that in the third quarter, he was really good as well because they went on a little run there in the third quarter. Was it the mid-third quarter when they started to pull away?
They went on 13-0 run, 16-0 run, I think. 16-0 run, yeah. And the Warriors took a 13-point lead, so they flipped the switch in the third quarter, outscored the Mavericks by 11, 37-26.
I thought Buddy was Buddy just every single time I watch him play, I'm like, dude, this guy, he just fits everything we want to do. He took the ball to the rim again, finishing with offhanded layups. And I don't know, man, Buddy's playing really well right now. And if you got him and Kuminga coming off the bench, how many teams have a 1-2 punch like that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. 30 points off the bench. You get those two guys, the first two guys. Now, Buddy wasn't as efficient for the three-point line last night, 2 for 8, 14 points. But Buddy's got some game, man. There's no doubt Buddy's playing well in this role, but he wasn't in that finishing lineup. And Buddy Hield in the fourth quarter just played 4 minutes and 47 seconds. So this is on Steve Kerr of feeling the game and feeling the flow of the game and feeling what he needed to do. Give Steve Kerr his flowers right now. He's pressing all the right buttons. All the rotations, he's pressing all the right buttons. Let's go to Andre in EPA. Andre, what's happening, buddy?
What's up, Andre?
Hey, man. Hey, good morning. Good morning. You know, I got to start it off best morning roast in the morning for sure. Yeah, man. I think we talked Thursday before the Cleveland game. We was hyped up. And, you know, they went to Cleveland. It didn't work out as well. And, you know, we went to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Handle business there. You know, we come home, we handle business. I like the fact that the Warriors are playing like the Warriors. They're aggressive on defense. You know, they're rebounding. They're running around. They're moving on offense. Nobody's standing around. You know what I'm saying? And the new pieces that we have are playing great. I love the way that D'Angelo Melton plays defense on Kyrie. Yeah, Kyrie going to do Kyrie. That's what he is. But if you can contain him and make him miss a couple shots and make him undecided about going to the basket because you're so long, that's good enough. Just like Wiggins. 7-foot wingspan. It's hard to go around and shoot over there. Yeah, Luka is Luka. I understand that. But he ain't going to shoot over a 7-foot wingspan every time. You can see it was in spurts, and that's what we needed. Our defense is what's going to get us to the championship, and that's how we played last night. It felt like we was in Oakland last night. It was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
You know, the part about playing like the Warriors, one thing that's always frustrated all of us, including the team itself, is just the really careless turnovers. And against a team that plays at the pace that the Mavericks like to play at, those turnovers can really punish you. And I thought yesterday they did a really good job minimizing the turnovers. And I'm looking at the stat sheet.
Just 13 turnovers.
Yeah, and almost 30 assists. Like, I'm telling you, you know, I keep saying it, 2.5 to 3 to 1. That's kind of the ratio you're looking for from elite point guards that handle the ball. As a team to do that, that tells me you're sharing the ball well.
Well, Steve Kerr mentioned this, and he was so right about it. They don't have the margin for error like they used to 5 to 6 years ago. They had all the firepower. They could just bomb threes left and right and go on a 21-2 run and blow you out of the water in the third quarter. It's not the same team. So he's begging and he's pleading with Draymond Green and Stephen Curry to take better care of the basketball. Now, Steph Curry had 4 turnovers, but you'll live with it. You'll live with it. Draymond Green had 0 turnovers yesterday. 0 turnovers. So if you get Draymond Green, who's averaging under 2 turnovers this season, and he's playing at an elite level, saying, hey, don't forget about Dre. We won't forget about Dre. When you're producing stat lines of 11 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 block shots, and 0 turnovers. And on the flip side, the Dallas Mavericks are number 1 in the league in terms of turnovers, averaging 13 a game because they play at a slower pace. Well, last night, the Warriors sped them up with timely double teams, timely traps, scrapping, getting loose balls, getting deflections within the half court. The Dallas Mavericks last night, again, they entered last night averaging 13 turnovers a game. Last night, 18 turnovers. And you get 10 turnovers combined by Luka and Kyrie Irving. So the Warriors did a good job on their star players. Again, Luka and Kyrie, 5 turnovers each. 18 total for the Dallas Mavericks, who averaged 13 a game.
So your point about the timing of the double teams is a really good one because, like, you're not going to guard these guys straight up because they're so dynamic, and Luka's going to foul hunt, and he's going to get his. And good luck anyone guarding Kyrie individually. But when you send over a double team, you're now in scramble mode, and then you're opening up the paint for those lobs because they have big lobs, and you're opening up the arc for Klay Thompson, right? So this is why the way they're built is a very tricky defensive matchup for so many teams, and I thought they were excellent with it. The Melton help out on Steph late in the game where Steph gets that steal. That is just high IQ basketball. It's not how you do it. It's when you do it and where on the floor you do it and when in the shot clock you do it. And I think that they've done a really good job defensively throwing the kitchen sink at teams.
No, they have.
From possession to possession, changing it up.
No, they have. Cocker, Jason, what's happening?
Hey, good morning, guys, and thank you for taking my call. Last night, we saw 2 brothers fighting. You know what I mean? That's what Draymond said last night. We all know when brothers play, They want to beat the hell out of each other, whether it's in the boxing ring, basketball court, whatever that might be. I get it. They both scored their highest of the season. They got everything out of each other. I get all that. But my question here is, what happened leading to the game, all this preparation? And, even Klay, he mentioned that it was just a regular game. There was nothing regular about that game. What happened leading to the game? I knew they had texted each other, and we knew before that they were supposed to be speaking to the crowd, and none of that ended up happening. Is Klay a little bit more bitter? Is he not happy with his brother regarding, the situation that happens and him end up leaving? And we know he's not happy with the organization, but is he saying to himself, you know what? Curry's everything in his team. He built that arena. If he wanted me to be there that bad, I'll still be there. Is there more to that?
No, pardon me, Jason. Klay told Steph in the offseason not to vouch for him to the front office. Said, I don't want you to do that for me. You don't have to do that for me. Steph did it anyway because he loves Klay Thompson. And that's his splash brother. And they were together first. Before Draymond, before Fezzi, before Iguodala, before Livingston, before everybody. It was Steph and Klay. And Klay asked Steph not to vouch for him in the offseason. As it pertains to last night before the game, the night before, Klay texted Steph and said, I don't need you to get on a microphone. He caught wind of it and said, I don't need you to do that. Klay wanted to downplay it as much as possible. He's a shy guy at heart. Naturally, he's a shy guy. Now, we've been able to see his personality evolve over the last decade, and that's what made Klay so lovable. It was like, wow, this guy's cool. I'd hang out with this guy randomly. He's one of the few guys you see NBA playing. Like, I hang out with Klay all day long. He looks like he has fun. And so Klay didn't want all the whistles and bells and everything like that. He didn't want all that. He just wanted to come back because I just want to play basketball. Now, he had to know the tribute was coming, and he felt it, and he was emotional, and he appreciated it. But that was that. He's trying to win games with the Dallas Mavericks. And we talk about Steph Curry's will to win and that killer instinct. Well, we heard from Zaza yesterday. We heard from Fezzi. We heard from Darrell. Klay Thompson's a killer, too. And so he didn't want all that stuff. And I'd probably feel like that as well. I'm probably more Klay Thompson in that sense where if I went back somewhere, I don't want all the fanfare. I don't want all the bells and whistles. I don't want all the kumbaya and congratulations. No, I just want to do my job. And that's where Klay was at last night, Jason and Concord. So he told Steph the night before, don't speak for me. If Klay could have pulled the plug on the Captain Klay hats, he would have done that. That's who Klay Thompson is. So, he didn't want all the fanfare. He just didn't want it. Well, I don't really blame him. Are you really mad about that or feel some type of way about that?
No, I don't. Look, people are going to find things to get angry at, but I would say this, like, had you not gone over the top, that might be viewed as a slight too, And so, like, I feel like you're in a no-win situation. If that's the algorithm of like, hey, I don't want all these things, you got to kill someone with kindness. That's what you do. And even if there is bad blood for X, Y, and Z reasons, the number one thing is to like, hey, show gratitude and appreciation. And I thought that the Warriors put out a template last night for how to treat an all-time legend.
Oh, it was first class. It was unreal what the Warriors did with Raymond Ritter, the 400-plus employees, welcoming Klay Thompson when he came into the arena.
Ultimate respect.
Saluting him with the Captain Klay hats. It was that's what the Warriors do. And that's, what the Bay Area does. The Giants, the Niners, the Warriors, they know how to treat their legends. They give back to their legends. The legends come back around. That's why Rick Barry's still around, and Clifford Ray's still around, and Nate Thurman was around for so long. And now we got Willie back around, and we got Tim Hardaway, you got Tom Tolbert, you got Mitch Richmond coming up and down. The Warriors and the Giants, and we know about the Giants doing it year in and year out, bringing back their legends. The Giants celebrate anything. Hi, we won 86 games in 1980. Hey, let's have the anniversary team. They don't care, but that's what they do. And it's first class, and it's really cool. And the Niners have jumped on board by having alumni weekend, and having guys like Frank Gore and Willis always around, and Brian Young always around. So that's just what the Bay Area does, man. It's first class when it comes to these organizations on how they run things and how they bring their legends back.
I was proud of the fans, too. You were there, so maybe you can tell me different. But when he got fouled, and I think he hit some free throws, but when he hit the first three, a little bit through the first quarter, I felt like a crowd kind of cheered for him.
Oh, absolutely.
At least that was what it felt through the TV.
The crowd was conflicted. The crowd was conflicted. It's Captain Klay.
That's what I'm saying.
And so when we think about the show the last 2 years and all the rhetoric about Klay Thompson, all the disrespect, that doesn't represent the 18,000 plus last night. That doesn't represent all of Dub Nation. if you're a real one out there, if you understand where this Warriors organization was and where it's at now, you respect the fact that Klay Thompson helped you win 4 championships. Again, we were playing some of his top 5 moments, and there's so many. The fadeaway in Indiana, one of the first game winners under Mark Jackson on the baseline back at Casico Fieldhouse in Indiana. The 60 points on 11 dribbles. We talk about that. The playoff moments. Again, I said it last night, and I'll say it again. Game 6 in Oklahoma City, not one of my favorite Warrior wins. It's one of my favorite NBA games ever. Ever. I'm talking all the time NBA games. And Klay Thompson had a big hand in that. So real Warrior fans, diehard Warrior fans who understood and understand where this organization has come from and where they're at now, they're going to pay their respects to Klay Thompson. Because it doesn't happen without Klay Thompson. It doesn't happen without Draymond Green. It doesn't happen without Stephen Curry. You needed all 3 of these guys. And they fit together perfectly like a puzzle, man. So that's why it was crazy to see them yesterday, Steph guarding Klay, Klay guarding Draymond. It was a bit personal. It was like practice.
It was very personal. I was just very proud of the fans and seeing them all show out, and they were there early watching him warm up, and the way that everyone had the hat out, tipping to him.
Tipping
like
the cap,
visual was so cool. And I kept thinking, like, how absurd was it that the Giants brought Brandon Belt out on a boat? Like, I mean, like at one point that was a thing, him with the captain hat.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking now it's synonymous from here on out in the Bay Area. You wear the captain hat, it equates to Klay.
Yep.
And I'm not. It's not disrespect to Brandon Belt, but it's like so far, few and far between. But I was thinking about just the visuals of seeing everyone in unison tip the cap to him and seeing that. That was the most I seen him. I don't know if he was choked up. That's probably too strong of a way to put it. But you could tell like that hit him in the soul.
Oh, it hit him hard.
Like I could see it through the TV that it hit him.
It hit him hard. It hit him hard to watch that. And I'm watching the Mavericks look at the tribute video, and Klay's looking at those highlights, being a number. And Bob Myers had a great story about him in the draft process. I had no idea that Klay went back to school. And if he didn't go back to school, Danny Ainge was talking about, I'm going to draft this kid, Klay Thompson, late in the first round. But Klay decides to go back to Washington State, as Bob Myers tells it. And the pre-draft buzz was like, this guy's rising up the charts. We need to get this dude.
He said Milwaukee would have taken him if they didn't trade out with
Sack.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Wow. Sacramento drafting Jimmer for that.
Wow.
Over Klay Thompson.
There was a point in time Jimmer was a commodity.
He was.
It was a lot of fun at BYU.
But like Jimmer was a thing, was it not?
He was a big time thing.
It came right after Adam Morrison, so I was very skeptical.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know about this one.
It was Jimmer Mania, right?
It was.
Was that what it was called, Jimmer Mania?
Something like that. I mean, he was big at BYU, and it was very predictable what happened in the NBA.
But back in,
was that the greatest regular season game at Chase Center history? Or is it just that's not even on the radar?
That was the most memorable one because it was the return of Klay Thompson.
Just everything.
Like you had a great game last year with the Phoenix Suns. You had a Bucks game with the Warriors were down 8.
OT,
and Steph went crazy. What about Klay Thompson on the Saturday night alongside Jordan Poole scored 30-plus on the Saturday night against Milwaukee without Steph and Curry? You've had some great regular season games
where
at
they
Chase
exposed
Center.
Brook Lopez.
Yeah, no doubt. You had some great games. You had the LeBron James and Steph Curry double OT, right?
Yeah.
Last Saturday night.
That was
the same game.
Yeah.
But this one felt
Saved
different.
the NBA on ESPN.
Because it was Klay Thompson. Our Bay Area, he's a family member. He's always going to eat for free. And with him in the building, it basically said, I don't want all this. I don't want all this love. I just want to play basketball. It did feel different. It felt different, folks. I'm telling you.
You're saying he's a family member? To go Tony Soprano on you, it felt like Steph Curry, after the car crash of that game, put his, hands over, the Chris Moltisanti and said, this one's over. You can't go with me.
No,
as I go Penguin on you as
you're
well.
over there now. You're the ops. You're the ops.
I couldn't believe.
You're the ops.
I couldn't believe his reaction. Like, I knew it mattered. You know what I mean? But like, he was screaming.
Before we get to James and Napa.
Screaming.
Because he's been waiting on hold for a long time. I want to get to James and Napa. The first quarter, the first possession, Klay Thompson gets the ball against Steph, and Steph fouls him. And Draymond's coming over for the weak side help, and he's coming over hard for the double. I mean, hard. I'm like, wait a minute. This guy's moving up. The way he was moving was just different.
Yeah, he gets up for these November games.
He does now. He hits a 3 over Klay, and he starts barking. Starts barking at Klay. And then they hit another shot, and Jason Kidd calls a timeout, and Draymond's talking to Jason Kidd. Talking that talk. Yeah, uh-huh. I was like, what's going on here? Everyone's just moving different. And I looked at Bully, I looked at Fezzi, and I said, is this different? I was sweating. I was getting nervous. I said, whoa, this is just November. Bonta Hill can't handle a game like this in November 12th. We got 5 more months of this crap, all right? We got 5 more months. Buckle up, folks. You could feel it. In the first 6 minutes, I said, oh, yeah, this is different.
You're saying like, oh, we got 5 more months. We do, but if they go on a nice little run for a couple months, you can't hit the cruise control.
No, there's no cruising. We're trying to work till July, baby.
No. I'm saying like in terms of the standings. Because like,
look at Steiny. You
have to stack wins early. You have to stack these wins.
Steiny's here early.
Is this the best 10-game stretch from Draymond?
What the hell is Steiny doing here at 7:30 in the morning?
Steiny probably stayed up all night.
Is he watching the game right now?
Steiny was probably with the overnight dancers.
All right, let's go to James in Napa. James, what's happening?
Hey, guys, thanks for taking the call. I got a betting question that I need your input on.
All right.
So I placed a bet and took the Warriors winning more than 46 games this year.
Oh, wow.
And with their 9-2 start, they just have to be 7 games above 500. So the bookie calls me and says, we think you've got a good bet. We'll pay you 75% of your winnings right now if we can do that. Huh. So I would you take the bet? I'm worried about the health, like you guys were saying.
Yeah, you know what, James?
So I'm thinking.
So you got the game right, 46 games. The over/under to start the season was 43.5. So you kind of got devalued a little bit there. You got 2.5 more wins that you got to get here. 43.5 is a lock, and I would tell you to keep the bet. 46 is very interesting, but when I look at the schedule here and it eases up towards the tail end of the season, I think you just let it ride and try to get the 100%. Why not go all in?
I'd take the money right now.
Go home, or go hard or go home, man.
Yeah, I disagree. If a bookie is offering to give you money,
there's a reason why a bookie's offering you money, because he knows that 46 is going to happen. James, how do you feel about it?
Well, I'm inclined to take it because I think that money in the bank is worth a lot.
A bird in the hand.
And I never know what the health is going to be like of Curry. What happens if he's gone for 2-3 weeks?
Well, you tell me. Is it a big bet? Is the 75% worth it?
Yeah, I bet $1,000.
Oh yeah, you take the bet. Take the money now.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Come on,
take the money now. You know what? You got your cash in the bank. The fact that the bookie's already offering money, that's a silly thing. The bookie must be going broke. Take the money now because the bookie may try to skeep town. James,
in the words of the great Steve Miller Band, which plays at the Fillmore from time to time, take the money and run. You didn't like that?
Fly like an eagle.
There we go.
Listen, I'm telling you. James and Napa, take the money now.
Like the Joker.
No. This money now, because this bookie, whoever he is, the fact that he's offering money right now, take the money because this dude may skip town. He may skip town if you do get the 46, 47. Take the money now.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Coach in Vallejo. Coach, what's happening?
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's up, Coach?
Watching the Warriors game, I think what's being going under the radar is the consistency and the force of Kuminga and the reliability of Kuminga. I mean, Kuminga is, if you notice, every fourth quarter he's part of that closing lineup because you talk about somebody that's gravity. When he gets on the court, he has everyone's attention. He's making his shots. He's not turning the ball over. He's rebounding. He's playing great defense. He's being so consistent that no one's talking about him anymore. And that's what I like to see. And, Bonta, I know you see it every night, but Kerr knows that Kuminga is such a versatile player and such a complicated player that he's a matchup terror for anyone offensively and defensively.
Coach, stay on line for a second because you said something there, and he shifted to the bench, and he's been a total professional every interview. Hey, I know I'm going to get my minutes. It's about winning games. And he's playing winning basketball. And you're right. When a guy's doing well, and I want to start doing this more and more, we don't do this in sports anymore. When a guy starts playing well, Coach, you're right. People just don't even want to talk about him. They're waiting for him to go 3 for 14. They're waiting for him to have 5 turnovers. They're waiting for him to get pulled and yanked after a 13-minute stint in a game. JK deserves a lot of love, Coach, and I'm glad you're doing it here because 5 rebounds, we asked him to rebound more. 5 more rebounds yesterday. 16 points off the bench. Lockdown defense on the perimeter in that closing lineup with Andrew Wiggins. He's starting to get it and understand what he needs to do here. So, Coach, I'm glad you called it and gave J.K. love because he deserves some love. A lot of people are hard on this young man.
Thank you. You know, and that's what I see. They used to nitpick his game, and if you notice, he brings the ball up court well, and everyone has to pay attention. So I like that with Kuminga. And, I hope he keeps playing well. He's showing everyone that he is a big-time player. And right now, I think he's a better ball player than Jimmy Butler. I really do.
Coach, let me ask you this one. Conversely, it does feel like Pods is on a little slump right now. What are you seeing from him?
Okay, I think Pods is feeling the pressure of second year, and they're paying attention to Pods. And Pods, unfortunately, he just doesn't have the athleticism to get away. And I think that's where Melton is above Pods. Yeah. He has the athleticism and the speed. And Pods just needs to settle down and do what he's doing now. If you notice, he's not shooting as much. Yep. So I think he needs to stay within himself and not try to be a star.
Would you agree? He gets himself in trouble by over-dribbling and penetrating into the lane and then picking up his dribble with no real purpose, right? Like when you pick up your dribble and then you're in the middle of the key, they clamp those passing lanes on the perimeter, and it's just, I don't know, man. I agree. He is kind of. He's
pressing a little bit. No, he's pressing. He's 8 of 41 from the 3-point line. He's shooting 16.7% from 3 right now. The
you
turnovers.
Think the mask has anything to do with that?
Maybe the mask does have something to do with that. And one thing that Steve Kerr's trying to check him on: stop talking to the referees.
Well, that's
yesterday he looked and he fouled Kyrie on the elbow, and he's trying to get Steve Kerr and company to challenge it. And this is how you know a coach doesn't want to hear it. They don't even look at you. Steve Kerr, the coach said, didn't even look at Paz. It's like, dude, let's just play on. So he's trying to do too much right now. He's trying to do too much, which he wants it too bad. And you know what? I'd rather have a player who wants it too bad because I do believe I could dial that back a little bit with Paz. But right now he's in a rut. There's no doubt. And Steve Kerr's rotations is showing you that, hey, if you're not playing well, you're not going to get minutes. And Paz was the 10th guy off the bench last night. So Paz knows he's got to play better. Kerr knows he's got to play better, and I do believe he'll play better. But there is a little something to that sophomore slump here with Brendan Podziemski because there's a lot of hype, a lot of fanfare for making an all-rookie first team. He's just trying to do a little too much right now.
Yeah, to me, it's like the over-dribbling into the lane, picking up your dribble with not a clear purpose of where to go. Either shoot or kick it out quickly. The longer you're pivoting, and it's just the worse the results become. The clock is ticking down on the shot clock, and I still like him. I still like him a lot as a player, and I don't love that they had him guarding Luka for long stretches. It's a poor matchup for him.
No doubt.
Luka's just a monster.
Luka Green, Steph Curry, DeAnthony, Melton. What a game for him. Andrew Wiggins playing defense and hustling and showing a lot of energy. And I hope your bot's stocking in two-way wigs because he's playing his ass off. We didn't even know if he was going to go last night with the lower back strain, but he gutted it out, and he defended Luka as well as you can defend him. You're not going to stop him from scoring, but can you make it difficult? And Luka went 2 of 10. Kuminga and Buddy Love off the bench. Buddy Hield, Buddy Buckets, Buddy Love. I don't give a damn. Buddy is getting buckets right now with 14 points and 16 from Kuminga. I'm telling you, Shasky, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this team right now. I don't know how good they're going to be. I'm not saying they're going to win a championship at all. I don't even know if this is going to be the final roster. What is Mike Dunleavy going to do? Because like good organizations, the phone lines are always open. They're always looking to strike. You heard Windhorse last week saying the Warriors have an itchy trigger finger. I haven't heard from Joe Lacob to start the season. He's laying in the cut. He's got the beard growing. He's sitting there scratching his beard saying, what do I do? What do I do? I got a team that's 9-2 right now. I'm just feeling really good about the style of play, the balance in offense. They're taking care of the basketball. Draymond's barking at everybody. Steve Kerr's pushing all the right buttons. Looking at the landscape of the Western Conference, man, this team's a problem. This team's going to be a problem for a lot of teams in the West this season. Just saying. I'm feeling good right now.
Look, it's a long year.
It's a long year.
All right? It's a long, long year. That being said, what do you think I think? What do you think I think? What do you think I think?
I don't know what you think.
What
man.
do you think?
I don't know what you thought. I never know what you think. I never know what you think.
The Celtics, Oklahoma City, and the Mavericks in a 4-game stretch. What does Bonta Hill think Joe Shasky thinks this morning?
I think you're on cloud 9 right now.
After Steph Curry hit multiple shots late, turned into the camera like it was personal, and basically put the Golden State jersey up and was yelling God knows what. I don't know. All you lip readers, I don't know what he was yelling.
We're going to get the Legends audio soon. We're going to get, how they go behind the scenes and get the audio on the court, the Legends kick out. We'll get that soon because somebody's going to figure it out. But that jersey pop with the Golden State Warriors, think about it.
Personal.
And it was on TNT.
That was a shot across the bow.
Well, it was on TNT, so Charles Barkley's watching. And there's no doubt Steph Curry and company heard Charles Barkley go to a commercial break the first week of the season. Yeah, the Golden State Warriors are going to be trash. Yeah, they're trash. They're going to suck.
He's been doubting us.
And
now
Barkley's
years.
watching it saying, this is San Francisco, the entire Bay Area, with Debo Samuel, Slick Rick, Ricky Pearsall in attendance. Pilo's in the building. Ryan Coogler's in the building with a Captain Klay hat with his lovely wife. The who's who with the stars was out there last night, and they're saying, hey, Bonta, hey, Bully, hey, Fezzi, you tell Shasky this team is for real. And Dub Nation out there in Thrive City who are listening, hey, we're listening to the roast. This team is going to win 50. And you know what people say? You've been bragging everybody. That unnamed player you keep talking about, Bonta, he was right. They're going to win 55 this year. Well, I don't know about that. But I know that Steve Kerr's pressing all the right buttons, and they're off to a hot start. I'm thinking they're going to be 13-3 after the next 5.
Here's the part that I'm most encouraged. Like, obviously, the style of play, the joy, the connectivity, the camaraderie.
Shasky, you know what I love? That's all good. It's the trapping and the scrapping and the diving on the floor for loose balls and deflections and picking up 94 feet defensively saying, we're going to just out-scrap you.
It's one thing to have all those things. They've also faced adversity.
Yep.
Like, that's where I was going with it. Like, Steph's missed some time, and Wiggins has missed a couple of games. And Kuminga was, at first, probably a little upset that he had to go to the bench. Has anyone said a peep? No. Has he said a peep? Have you seen anybody bad body language?
You know what you've seen? You've seen Kuminga play even better and raise his game to another level.
Yeah, since going to the bench as a reserve, 17-plus points a game and shooting over 50% from the field. So, no, he's been amazing. And, Potts has been low-key kind of weak, right? Like all these little things. It's not like everyone on the entire roster is playing lights out. No. Milton's missed time. So to me, the encouraging thing is not only are they stacking wins and they playing a great brand of ball, it's not like they haven't had some things not go their way.
Right.
The schedule was not favorable.
It was not.
What was favorable? Guys missing from from other teams. I'll acknowledge that. Things have bounced their way in terms of who they've played, when they've played them, guys missing. But all you can control is your effort level. And right now, I'm watching a team that feels like a team. And there was this picture that used to be up in the Reardon locker room. Together, everyone achieves more. And that's the team, algorithm, if you will, where it's spelt out. And it really, truly feels like they've built a team. And I have to give credit not only to Draymond Green for kind of galvanizing himself and looking himself in the mirror, but also Dunleavy and Steph Curry to put together this team and for them to make it work. Great leadership from the front office and the franchise's greatest player because he has led the way.
No, and don't forget about Jerry Stackhouse and Terry Stotts. I hear what Draymond Green said with Tim Roy after the game last night about their defensive game plan.
Stackhouse, and that's Stack's defense. It's been my defense for years. But that's Stack's defense. I've never seen. Mike Brown took so much pride in the defensive end, and Stackhouse beats him by a long shot. We're just trying to operate his defense, execute his defense the way we're capable of, and me being the anchor of that, got to hold it down.
Jerry Stackhouse, that's his defense. And those moves, those subtle moves that the Warriors made, not only on the court with Buddy Hield and DeAnthony Melton and Kyle Anderson. You remember how excited I was about DeAnthony Melton. If his back can hold up, you got to steal here. Because I always wondered, why the hell did Memphis trade him? Why did they trade him? That's their problem, not ours. But the additions of Terry Stotts and the additions of Jerry Stackhouse defensively, they have some new wrinkles. They are trapping and doubling, and these teams don't even know where it's coming from, and I do believe that's sustainable. To hear Draymond Green say for years, this was my defense. This is all Stack's defense, and I'm just trying to be the anchor of it. Everything's come together beautifully. And guess what? They're still working the phone lines. You believe the Warriors they're trying to get better. Because there's going to be a point, and Willie keeps saying this. This league is up for grabs this year. Boston doesn't look like a clear-cut favorite to me in that style of play. The New York Knicks are beatable. Philadelphia is beatable. The Mavericks are going to be beatable. They're tough.
Beatable. Philadelphia's in shambles.
They're in shambles right now. They'll get healthy, though. They'll make a run. There's no doubt. They'll make a run.
I'm skeptical.
We'll see about it. But this league is wide open.
Oh, that I agree with.
And if you get Draymond and Steph back into a 7-game series, it's hard to bet against these guys. They've stacked a lot of postseason wins, so there could be something happening in the Western Conference. Somebody's going to strike a deal quick.
So now Stackhouse is like Lord Vic Fangio or Dick LeBeau?
He's D'Amico.
D'Amico? I was going to say maybe Belichick Fortuna. No, like seriously, we need a good nickname for Stack.
We don't need a nickname. We just call him Stackhouse. And we know what he's about. I'm just hoping Stack doesn't get a job next year from somebody.
Well, let's worry about this year. I look at Terry Stotts, and it was late in the fourth quarter of the OKC game, and OKC's going on a run, and Stotts stands up, walks over to Steve Kerr. Now, I'm lip reading. He goes, "You got a timeout left. We should use it," or something to that effect. And then Steve Kerr's like, all right, nodded his head, and then hit the timeout. And I had said it in the group that like, we need a timeout right here, guys. And they fired off the timeout. Having a guy who was a former head coach for as long as he was, it helps. You need that validation from someone else on that bench because you're kicking around ideas. Look, a coach throughout a game is second guessing themselves on everything. And they're going the yin and the yang on every decision. And so to have someone else either validate or go against you or challenge or whatever it is, I think that helps. And I'm with you. Stack and Stotts have been welcome additions.
Well, what the Warriors wanted to do was add a former coach. And they had one in Kenny Atkinson, so you want to replace him with the former coach. So you get that in Terry Stotts. He's going to throw his little offensive wrinkles. They had a great offensive basketball up in Portland. They played great offensive basketball, I should say. Then he wanted a former player, which he hadn't had on the staff in a while. Remember, they had Luke Walton.
It's true.
They had Willie Green. They had Aaron Miles.
One of the Collinses.
Jaron Collins. So you had a former player.
Yeah.
Now you get Stackhouse, who was a former All-NBA player and an All-Star. A lot of players know who Jerry Stackhouse is. He was a high flyer. We know him from North Carolina. So you get the former player, the former coach, and you get Chris DeMarco and Q Frazier back up in their positions there where they're really good assistants. And you get Ron Adams there as a defensive consultant. Now, all of a sudden, Steve Kerr's got a staff. Dunleavy's pulling all the right strings, requesting it to Steve Kerr. Hey, maybe we shake up the coaching staff a little bit here. So for Draymond to acknowledge, this is Stack's defense. And right now, Stack's defense has them in the top 5 in a lot of defensive categories.
Crazy.
And if you want to win championships in this league, you need to have top 5 offense and defense. And the offense is connected to the defense, and the defense connected to the offense, leading to wide open threes. I just can't get it. You saw it right away, Shasky. The trapping.
I know.
Kyrie Irving, even though Kyrie was solid, and he's a great shot maker.
Kyrie's solid.
He's unbelievable.
You watched me watching the game back, and what did I say? How many times?
Well, I always fear Kyrie.
Kyrie is unreal.
Kyrie is unreal. But even though he went 8 of 13 and he scored a 21, I never felt like he got into the full rhythm of the game.
I would agree with
because the Warriors were pestering him all over the place, putting a body on him, hacking him, full court, traps, doubles, get the ball out of his hands. And they forced Luka and Kyrie to a combined 10 turnovers. They each have 5. That's Stackhouse. That's Draymond anchoring. That's Wiggins getting up on your ass and playing two-way wigs type of defense. And that's Kuminga coming in off the bench saying, let me get a piece of Luka too. Everything's coming together here. They deserve a lot of credit for putting this team together. They're 9-2 right now.
I think the number one thing, when you saw a glimpse of that closing lineup, it was like, okay, if Melton can stay healthy, and that the threading the needle on the health for Melton and Wiggins is vital. But if they can stay healthy, wow. Like, because Melton is a defender who's smart, who can ball handle in the half court, can knock down shots. You cannot lay off him. You saw him hit the 3. Then you got J.K., so you got the athleticism. Wiggins gives you a little bit of everything, and he's going to guard whoever the dude is on the other team who's just the perimeter beast. And then you let Draymond be Draymond.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought that having that glimpse of that closing lineup, I was like, all right, I see it.
You see something.
I see it.
D'Anthony Melton, kind of like Otto Porter Jr., can he remain healthy? Can you keep him healthy? Now, Otto Porter Jr. was a little, obviously he had a lot more years under his belt.
Yeah.
But remember was it KC Johnson from NBC Chicago,
that's
maybe?
Right. You're right.
We had him on, and he also said, what about Otto Porter Jr.? He goes, if he's healthy, this is one of the steals of the offseason. And Otto Porter Jr., he wasn't lying.
I loved Otto Porter Jr.
Now, D'Anthony Melton, from day one, I was like, Shasky, I like this move a lot, man. Lifetime 37% three-point shooter. He hits 2 yesterday after hitting 5 at OKC. And he's rebounding and he's defending. If that back can hold up and you can get to the playoffs and you got him Melton. Again, in that Western Conference semifinal series with Memphis a couple of years ago, Melton was getting into it with Poole and Steph. And I said, man, this guy, they need to play him more. I remember saying that in real time. And they traded him to Philadelphia. And I said, they traded the wrong guy. You should have traded Dylan Brooks. You keep a guy like this. Well, as D. Wright said yesterday, he's an L.A. guy. And I know the Clippers are fishing at D'Anthony Melton, too. They wanted some Melton in their life. Well, the Warriors are able to steal him at $12 million for a year. And this may be a great, we talk about Buddy Hield being a bargain. D'Anthony Melton's more of a complete player than Buddy, and I like what Buddy's doing. I'm not trying to diminish what Buddy's done yet. But Melton, as a two-way player, just completes the starting lineup. You get a little defense and offense.
Well, and it does feel, you've had the Boston game. OKC got, in the words of Bonta, a little hairy down the stretch. And then this one, everybody says you got to have 2 stars. You got to have 2 stars. Down the stretch, having just the 1 star does make things clear. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I wouldn't take another. I'm just saying that, in the half court, understanding, hey, Curry's got to get the ball. That doesn't mean he has to take the shot. I'm just saying it starts and ends with him. There is some singularity with that. I think that there's some positivity.
I think in 2014-15, even though Klay made an all-star game in New York City, I don't know if he was considered a star quite yet.
No.
So to me, it was like Steph, and
I would agree with
you know what I mean?
Yes.
And you get what I'm going, but Klay was obviously the number 2.
I think
he would take shots.
Retroactively stapled him or slapped him as a superstar. Right. I don't think he had arrived to that degree.
He hasn't arrived yet, but he made the All-Star, though. He was on the come-up, no doubt about that. But this team definitely having Steph knowing that he's going to have the ball. And again, I don't ever want to hear that, or not that I hear it anymore, but the whole narrative that he wasn't clutch, think about how stupid that was. People that was riding with that and running with that saying, oh, he ain't really that clutch. Really?
Well, you just saw Dwayne Wade get a statue for the "This is my house" moment. He's had so many of them. That's a statue-esque moment for Steph on Klay night, for crying out loud.
Screaming into the camera like that.
I've never seen him act like that.
With the veins popping out. Yeah, he wants it. He's feeling it right now.
Game 4 in Boston, he didn't even react like that.
Just listen to his post-game pressers. We had him on twice in a week on NBC Sports, and you could tell he's in his bag. He is thinking about this team, and he told us all. He gave us a warning shot in the summer. Let me see where we're at. Can we stay relevant? And you know what?
I'm not trying to start anything. I'm not. I'm just saying I'm watching him do that and put the Golden State out, and it's like, oh my God, this is so deeply personal to him. All of it. Just everything.
No doubt.
Everything.
No doubt it is.
This is all deeply I'm not trying to wedge anything amongst anyone, and I respect everybody involved. All right, Klay, Dre, the Warriors front office.
I'm telling you.
It was deeply personal.
I'm telling you, the first possession when we're sitting there in the tunnel, and the first possession, and I got to tip that the first possession, we go to Klay Thompson, post up, whatever it was.
You got a tip? So wait, someone walked over to you, hit you in the elbow, like, hey, I got a tip.
Well, when I'm making the rounds at Chase Center, the pregame routine, and, you kind of know some people, and, the first place go to Klay, right? Not a King's Tell. Not a King's Tell. You can pot it down. I'm done.
No.
I'm done.
Keep it up.
No, I'm done.
So the king is walking around his palace.
It's done.
So Milish, you're walking around your palace at Chase Center.
I just said I got a tip that first possession was going to go to Klay Thompson on the post up. And Steph Curry fouled him. It was like, I'm not letting him score.
Was it the master of coin or the master of whisperers that let you know? Varys's little birds? Raymond Ritter's little birds?
Hey,
Raymond Ritter's little birds! Spinoni!
Raymond Ritter had nothing to do with that. You guys trying to clown, man.
No, we're having fun with it.
I know, trying to clown, man. Just trying to give y'all some game.
Winter is coming. I don't know if you know this. Winter is coming.
Get to his game. Just trying to educate y'all, man. Come to some games, start talking to some people, shaking some heads. Maybe you'll get some insight like this.
All right, Bonta of House Hill.
You guys want to stay on your couches, not go to the gym.
Bonta of House Hill.
Come to the gym every now and then. It's all right.
What would your little symbol be because of the dire wolf for the Starks? What's Bonta Hill? The House Hill. What is your
what is my symbol?
Yeah.
Gucci.
Thank you. I couldn't find the word.
Versace.
What is it? A sigil?
A sigil. Yeah.
Sigil. What would my sigil be? Oh my! It'd be Steph Curry's face screaming.
Steph's face.
That's my sigil.
It'd be like your face doing the "oh baby."
It could be that. That'd be a good sigil.
Or the panic meter face.
I like the word sigil. The panic face. Hey, well,
that'd be pretty funny.
Well, the arrogance meter is going to be coming out soon. Oh. That's where we're at.
Oh,
the arrogance meter will be coming out soon.
I should get royalties on the panic meter.
No, you shouldn't. That was my thing.
Oh my God.
That was my thing.
Well, how's it your thing when you literally rip me every single day for like 5 years straight?
Yeah, that was like you're panicking, and I was like, we got a panic meter. That was my thing. What do you mean?
Yeah, but it should be my face up there.
No, your face shouldn't be up there.
Why not?
I don't know. His face is more panic sometimes.
No, I'm not putting his face up there. I'm trying to keep viewers on TV, not lose them.
Like.
I mean, come on. Just give me a little love. Just a little drop.
See this guy?
I feel like Steph Curry. It's personal.
You like sometimes, like my fiance, you give them some free stuff, and then
I know everything.
They want to ask for more things and more things and more things. Like Baby Chess, hey, we already got all the toys. You got your Barbie van, you got your Barbie spa. Oh wait, now you want more? Now you want more? Wait, you want
Can
more
I get a feature on your album? That's all. Like one.
See, so I say all that
bars?
to say
The panic meter featuring Joe Shasky.
Exactly.
Literally on Sunday, the first 3 minutes of the Toyota Warriors postgame live, Shasky gets a name drop within the first 3 minutes of the show. Not 95.7 the game, not Anna, not Baby Chess, not Lubin, Joe Shasky. Joe Shasky name gets dropped every other show, and it's not appreciated. You see what I'm dealing with here? I give them love all the time.
Mully knows the streets, and streets know that Shasky's real. And
greedy.
I do always see your name on the post-game show, Shasky, because they have the little byline at the bottom. Listen to more about this game on the Morning Roast with Bonta Hill and Joe Shasky.
Right there, bold letters.
It is, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you.
Fooled on that.
It's a pinch me moment every time I see it.
I always think of you when I see it.
And he's begging for more.
No, I always want more.
It's never enough.
Who doesn't want more?
It's never enough.
I think we all want more in life.
So he wants his face on my. So he wants his face on my panic meter. He wants his face on my panic meter. My arrogance meter. No, it's my panic meter.
We are panicking.
It's mine because you guys are panicking when I told you not to panic. They're going to win the championship, and you guys are freaking out about the Memphis Grizzlies. I tell you, they're frauds. They're going to beat them in 6. And what happened? They beat them in 6.
Hey, the King said it. It is said, so it is written.
It is written. Go check the audio, damn it. I'm off no sleep.
That's the old station. We don't have that anymore.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure Ernie Chavez is out there. He can find some things.
Oh, no. I haven't heard from Ernie in a while.
We can find some things. Chat. Yeah, YouTube chat. I thought it was coming back. It's not coming back yet?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands, River Islands in Lathrop? Good morning to you, Slater. Always good to have you on weekly here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. And you just covered a road trip. They were 4-1, and you come back for Klay Day. The first game of the Emirates NBA Cup, and the court was different, and the statement jerseys were out for the Golden State Warriors. You've covered a lot of regular season games. You've covered some iconic ones. Kevin Durant going back to OKC. You've covered great playoff games. Where's that regular season game rank for you with everything considered? The Klay Thompson return, Steph and Dre saying what they were saying, Steve Kerr talking about it, no pregame tribute from Steph and Curry before the game. Where's that regular season game rank for you, Slates?
What's up there? I would say as I age into my, into the 2040s and 50s, I'll probably remember Durant in Oklahoma City more as a just like shocking event to go to. That was festive, celebratory. I don't know, the venom of the Oklahoma City return for some reason. I don't know. Maybe that's just how we as humans remember things. But that was just a more shocking night. It wasn't even a very good game, by the way. The Warriors blew them out.
Yep.
And then remember Draymond and Steph are wearing the cupcake shirts post game, and I don't know. There was just a lot to that one. But yeah, no, it was up there. Also, on your lead-in question, how about you guys didn't mention prime Kevin Durant and prime Steph Curry? That was a pretty good duo.
Yeah, that was a hell of a duo. They don't get the love in that 3-year sample size that we got there. They were dynamic.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. It was. I will say this about last night. I came into it slightly skeptical about how the sailor hats will work. I was wondering how Klay was going to receive a lot of it because again, I've written about plenty of kind of the bitterness of the end, and he was pretty clear in the lead up how much he wasn't necessarily searching for some super celebratory night, but it clearly landed well with him. And having been in the arena, I thought the aesthetics of the hats were good. All the fans wore them. I mean, they treated him very well throughout. Maybe you had one little faint airball chant, but that was about it. I thought it went well, really.
Well, let's go to the end, and we can dissect everything in between, but let's go straight to the end. Watching Steph react the way that he did, and then just the intensity of the entire day and the game and how guys were playing, that felt very, very personal to me. It felt like there was a lot of residue in lots of different directions. What was your interpretation of the end of that game with Steph Curry reacting the way he did?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, number one, a reminder of like what has made these guys champions, and Klay is included in that. And, Draymond's outward competitiveness is very obvious to everyone. But Steph has that inner fire that Kobe Bryant, right back in the day, remember the Kobe Bryant interview where he kind of identified it early? And you see it in him and you see it in Klay, and they're going to rise on nights like this. And, I don't think there's necessarily like personal turmoil at the heart of it, but like Steph knows the stage, Steph knows the moment. Steph, I think, wanted, he's not only just making a statement to Klay, but I think he's making a statement to the league that, what we spent all summer talking about, Klay's departure was a signal that like the dynasty was truly dead. And he knows that, look, they're 9-2, and they just had kind of maybe the statement win of the NBA season, certainly the statement stretch, winning in Boston, in Oklahoma City, then coming home and punctuating this on a night like that. He was letting the world know. And that's Steph. I mean, look, he did it. I will say he's getting a little bit more ferocious in his celebrations. It used to be a little bit more fun. Now it's like he was like kind of screaming at the camera. That was interesting.
Yeah, no, that was very interesting there. And then we get to Draymond Green, because the first possession of the game, Draymond's trying to help on a Steph. Klay draws a foul on Steph, as he says he blacked out there. And then Draymond hits a three. He's talking to Klay. And I don't know if you noticed Jason Kidd when he called his first timeout in the first quarter. Draymond's barking at Jason Kidd. So I'm thinking, Draymond's got the intensity tonight. He's had it all season long. There's no doubt. No turnovers last night to 11 points. Again, he's hitting 2 threes, and they're 139 and 30 all time when he hits at least 2 threes in the games later. Draymond Green, and where he's at right now, he's in a great space, it feels like. And you've covered the road trip. Can you speak about where Draymond Green is at right now as a player on and off the court?
I mean, he's in a great mood on like almost a very regular basis, but like pregame, postgame, locker room, post practice, all that. He's in a very like appreciative mood. He's talked about like trying to enjoy like the ups and downs of a season much more clearly than last year. Obviously, I mean there was just so much that went into it. He's been very chatty, but what was interesting is like I was kind of trying to talk to him on the road trip maybe about like kind of as I was doing that big Klay story that I already put out. And he didn't really want to talk about that. And then I thought what was interesting, I mean, he ignored a question in a press conference about like kind of the Klay return. And then he mentioned yesterday postgame, he asked for the tribute video early, watched it, kind of got it out of the way, because it was clear he wanted to go into the game like with no type of sentimentality, with no type of nostalgia. He wanted to go in with like that killer mentality. And I mean, you saw it early. He hits the corner 3 over Klay and yells at him. You mentioned the Jason Kidd one. He's just, again, we're 11 games in. I don't want to talk about like postseason awards, but he is kind of like defensive player of the year version of Draymond so far this season. And like, that's massive. I mean, we could talk about so many reasons why this team is 9-2 and why this team right now is reminding us of the 2022 one. And part of it is Draymond is looking like a top 3 defensive player in the league.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love their closing lineup. Melton, Kuminga, obviously Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, who I thought was way better than the box score indicates, and Steph Curry. What was your breakdown of the final 5, if you will?
Yeah, I think they're in an interesting place because, a lot of that is unlocked by Draymond at the 5, right? That's always been the key to allowing them to play Wiggins and Kuminga together. Because they can't do that also with the center. And I think we all know in the tensest moments of this season and in the biggest games against the best, most athletic teams, they're going to have to go to Draymond at 5. But they don't want to start that way. Mostly, I would say for strategic reasons, but also because Draymond doesn't want to start that way. He's made that clear. He wants a center out there protecting him, whether it's Looney or Trace Jackson Davis. But once again, we're just reminded, like, this is what you have to go to when you have to win a game, when you have to get, a 5-possession, 2-way lineup out there. And I think Kuminga's been excellent lately, and you have to praise his professionalism for absorbing the bench role, taking it, and then having his best stretch, like much better than when he was starting early in the year. And if he's that type of active player both ways, where at this point I would say he's probably their second best like isolation type scorer behind Steph, then you do have a lot of like kind of fun lineup options. I do think there's going to be stretches where Podziemski's going to play better, and maybe he's in that Melton role. But and then the other thing you mentioned, D'Anthony Melton, like you worry about his back and the way it's flared up in his history, but he's played the last 2 games against the Thunder and Mavericks like really impressively, and like he adds an element of two-way basketball. They kind of needed that position.
Talking to Anthony Slater, our 95.7 Game Insider, does a great job for The Athletic. He's here on the River Islands guest line, and he joins us every single week to talk some Warriors basketball here on a Warriors Wednesday. And Slater, you bring up D'Anthony Melton's back. Should we be concerned about Andrew Wiggins' back? Because you look at the box scores, people are going to look at the box score and say, Wiggins didn't have a really good game. I thought he was very impactful yesterday. He battled defensively, trying to guard Luka Doncic, and I think he's put together a good stretch since he's come back from the back injury. But is that a concern moving forward here? Because it seems like it keeps popping up on the injury report.
Yeah, he missed 2 games because of it. I don't know. I mean, look, he's got the back pad on, during when he's resting. I see it sometimes. He was wearing that like a padded thing in the locker room. So it's clearly something that's like bothering him now. Where I worry about it less than even Draymond or D'Anthony Melton's is there's not a long history of like a serious type back issues that sidelined him for a long time. I just think it's natural getting older, playing the way he does. So I don't know. At this point, no, I wouldn't ring the alarm bells. I just think it's something that just tightens up a little bit. But, you mentioned it. I thought he was really good on Luka last night, and that's what they need, the way he's been playing defense. At this point, he's probably defended Luka better than really anybody in the league, consistently.
Yep, no, you're so right about that. He's playing well. Had a good game in OKC Sunday, Shasky, 16-8-5. Love where Andrew Wiggins is at.
Yeah, I do too. And obviously they've got to thread the needle on Melton simultaneously. Yeah. It feels like they're juggling a lot of plates here, right? Like you're trying your best to get everyone acclimated, and you need them playing good ball. And so you're reincorporating Melton into the equation and trying not to obviously get him injured, because the back is very, very tricky. And then you've got Moody and Podziemski, and they're not playing as well, but you still want to give them run. Just the guard situation that they have going on right now, GP2. And how do you think it plays out over the next couple of weeks?
Similarly to how it's playing out right now, which is like, if as long as he goes and he seems willing to go to this like 11-man, sometimes 12-man first half rotation, you can just decide who's playing well on any given night. And I think if there's going to be a night soon, I'm sure Moody comes out and hits 3 threes. And, those nights where you're like, ooh, Moody's really got it tonight. Extend his minutes to 24. Maybe, Melton slips into the background on that type of night. We all know there's going to be nights where Podziemski comes out, takes a charge, hits a 3, dives on the floor, stomps the floor after doing it. And then, Steve will probably be over there like, he's playing 32 minutes tonight, He's played 5 minutes and his plus minus is 9. Keep going with him. I mean, that's just how it works with him. I do think with Podziemski, he breaks his nose on the last game of preseason. I think I know the mask bothered him because he was hopeful it wouldn't. And then talking to him at the end, even the other night in Oklahoma City, he was really happy to get it off. I don't know if y'all mentioned no mask last night.
Yeah.
But also he got sick recently. You remember he left the BC game. He was like busy, just called himself out of the game, then missed the next game. So I just think he's in a little bit of a funk right now, but that's the specialty of this team. He can either miss time or not play that well, and then you can just limit his minutes and go to next man up. I mean, we didn't even mention the name Lindy Waters. Last time I was on with y'all, he was like the story, he was a huge story.
Shasky's ready to put up in the All-Star game.
No, I wasn't.
Now he's sitting as the third. Yeah, he's sitting as a 13th man, but I know how y'all feel. Like if suddenly Lindy Waters is in the game for 20 minutes, y'all are not like, worried.
No,
he's not panicking. Not panicking.
He's actually bringing the ball up the floor every now and then when he gets in there. He's fine.
Hit a little bit of a rut. When you bring up Podziemski in his shot, and it could be mask related, so that's why I'm not going to harp on Podziemski's lack of three-point shooting at the moment. He's 8 of 49 on the season here, Slates. But do you get a sense that maybe he's trying to do too much and trying to prove himself all over again?
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of him, you know. He had that moment last night. He kind of missed. I think he was going against Gafford. Missed. They had a putback, and they were going to timeout, and he was just, like, getting on the ref about it. And to me, those are moments where you can tell, you know, somebody's really kind of worried about, you know, how they're playing. Because it's like, you know, you got a loony tip in. You guys are winning. I think the Mavs just had to call timeout. Like, don't need to get after the ref. But I mean, we talked about it even going back to the offseason. Like, this was going to be a lot of pressure on him heading into year 2 regardless. He puts a lot of pressure on himself, but also, obviously, everyone knows, like, you know, the trade talks that the Warriors were engaged with all summer and their, you know, external and internal view of Brandon Podziemski and the fact Joe Lacob goes on a Summer League broadcast and says future All-Star. You know, future All-Stars don't average, or All-Stars, I should say, don't average, you know, 10, 12 points a game. And I think there's a little bit, you know, buried on a team with depth. I do think he's trying to show his scoring ability. I would say he did have that one really big game in Houston, big closing stretch, I should say, where they don't win that game if he doesn't have those 3 massive, like, you know, late in regulation buckets. And I think that's in some ways who I think he envisions himself to be a few years from now. But, you know, that's a long developmental process ahead.
Look, I'm trying to think about what is separating this team from last year? And there's so much on court that we love. We've been talking about the double teams and the spacing on offense, or their ability to just have more activity on both ends of the floor. I'm looking at some of the wins that they've had, and I know some of the teams haven't been at full strength. OKC losing Chet early in that game. Boston not having Jaylen Brown. Like, those things do matter. But they've beaten now a lot of what I consider to be elite to really good teams in the NBA in a short stretch here. What more do you need to see from these Warriors to believe that this is pretty real? Like, I know it's a long year, you know, Anthony, but, like, I feel like I'm seeing more early on from this team than at any point last year from the Warriors.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting. I was talking to a few players last night, and we were kind of in agreement that, like, they could have played this 11-game stretch last year and generally played it, you know, relatively similarly from, like, a competitive standpoint in a lot of these games, but, like, they'd probably be like 6-5 instead of 9-2, because you don't win the Houston game after you blow that lead. You know, you don't, you know, I don't think you necessarily come back from 7 down last night. Like, they were kicking those games away last year. The Boston, remember, what did they go down in the fourth quarter in Boston? I remember that night thinking, I think they went down 4.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, well, you know, this is a positive night. I thought they were going to lose, and I thought we were all going to come out of it like, man, you know, they gave Boston a nice run in Boston, and then they come out and win it. Now, I think one of the most under-discussed aspects of them being in true contention is, like, a real conversation about, like, is Steph Curry a third-team All-NBA player or a first-team All-NBA player? Like, at his advanced age in his career, is he still a top 3 type player, an MVP candidate? Because if he's in some ways what he was last year, right, which was, I think he finished third-team All-NBA. Like, that is a difference between championship contention and, like, second round, basically. And I will say the last 3 wins, after they proved themselves without Steph Curry, right, they go 3-0 with him out. But the last 3 wins, he dragged them to the finish line in Boston. He was incredible in Oklahoma City when it felt like everything was kind of melting down in the fourth quarter. He just took over. And then obviously last night, I mean, he has the 12-0 run, 10-0 run, whatever it was, to pull them across the finish line. And if they have the depth and the vibes and, like, you know, all the versatile lineups, and then they also have that Steph Curry who against the elite teams can just kind of bump them past Luka, past Jason Tatum, past Shea in Oklahoma City, like, that's when you're a title contender, because that's when you have the structure around the A1 superstar, and he, at least in the last 3 wins, has proved he's still at that level, and that's huge. Yeah, no, it is. Slater, we saw a stat yesterday on Stat Mamba that at the age of 36, only 3 players have scored 36-plus points in back-to-back nights: LeBron James, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, Stephen Curry. So he's still playing. Like, it's just crazy how he just keeps forcing himself into these conversations with all-time greats. But before we let you go, just one last thought on the Dallas Mavericks. They're 5-6 now. They lost to Phoenix last week, 114, 113. Lost to Denver on Sunday, 122-120. They're not playing well, but they're not healthy and whole. They do look like a problem, though, come playoff time, right, Anthony? Because they have all the components for a playoff series. And I just feel like they're going to be a tough out in the Western Conference playoffs. Yeah, I mean, you saw it last year. They kind of like bumbled their way. They were play-in range. I remember going to a game in Oklahoma City or in Sacramento in March, and they and the Kings were like on the fringe of the play-in, and you didn't know what whoever won that game I think was going to take over the 6th seed. And then by the time I was fast forward 2 months, I'm in Dallas watching them beat the Thunder to go to the West Finals, and obviously they go to the NBA Finals from there. It's just Luka. It's interesting watching Luka last night because you're like, is he still not in that great of shape? He's kind of whining at the refs all games, like all the stuff that you worry about with Luka is still there, but you're also like, man, he kind of dominated half the game, right? Like,
it's amazing.
The way he just succeeds is incredible. And then Kyrie, was not overly, he wasn't like some super influential factor last night, but we all know what he can be in the playoff series. And then I do worry about them defensively with Kyrie, Luka, and Klay having to be in some of their crunch time lineups altogether. But yeah, I mean, they have playoff killers on their team, and then I like their center combination.
Yep.
Lively was incredible last year in that series I covered against Chet Holmgren and the Thunder. Like, I know he's kind of built for that moment. Gafford helps. You didn't see PJ Washington last night. I like Najee Marshall as like a playoff rotation piece. Yes, not only are they going to be a factor in the West playoffs, I would love to see a Warriors-Mavericks playoff series.
That's the first thing I thought of. It's like, we got 7 games of that. Oh my Lord!
Hey, how about Game 6 Klay in Chase Center?
Oh my God! Oh my God! Can you imagine that? Warrior fans freaking out. Dallas coming into town with a 3-2 lead. Oh, we can dream. We're only in November, but I like where your mind is at, Anthony. I like where your head's at when it comes to the Warriors and the Mavericks and what could happen out here in the Western Conference slates. Always good stuff. I'll see you Friday night at Chaser to keep up the great work as always.
All right, fellas.
Anytime. Anthony Slater here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. I think he's going to Kings Suns today. The Suns are in Sacramento to take on the Sacramento Kings. So he's going to do some double duty there.